going on, and welcome back to another episode of the Game Time Podcast. We are here for episode 5, and you got your guys, Tom Bach and your boy, SnowBikeMike, and we are ready to get into it, talking some video games, talking some sports, and this week, we're going to have a fun one. Tom Bach, how you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing great today. We made it to episode number 5,
Woo!
and I love it. Had a great time doing this. Can't wait for episode 50, episode 500.
Oh, the weeks just keep flying by. It's amazing to think we've already made it through 5 weeks. There was a whole lot of planning before this, and here we are just talking games, talking sports, having a fun time each and every week, Tom.
I love it, man. I love it. We got a good one here today. We got some good topics keyed up here. We got the NBA playoffs going on. We got a big game releasing tomorrow that it seems like everybody in the world has played, that you and I are excited as hell to play. So, man, it's a good week to talk about all this stuff.
Oh, and you know what? That rolls perfectly into topic number 1. And topic number 1 is going to be hype in video games. So I want to know, Tom, what are we hyped for coming for the future of video games, whether it be a new game coming out soon, like God of War tomorrow for us, maybe Spider-Man in the future, and what gets you hype about video games? Is it the trailers? Is it the media coverage? Is it the review scores? I want to know it all, Tom. So let's dive into it. Topic number 1, hype around video games. Why don't you start me off? What are you hyped for coming up?
Man, it was funny. I was looking through a big list of what's kind of coming out the rest of the year, and something kind of hit me that I don't know if it was just my lack of data or if this is kind of the way things are playing out this year. But man, it seemed like there was kind of a smaller number of games coming out this year than I remember there being at this time in previous years. I don't know why that is, and I don't know if it's just my memory's kind of fuzzy. But I looked through a whole bunch of different media outlets to kind of get a sense of what's coming. Man, there are some huge games coming out this year, which is killer, right? Some massive franchises, be it Red Dead Redemption, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Spider-Man, we already talked about, God of War, which I jokingly said everybody in the world has freaking played but us, and it really does seem that way sometimes. You got people already talking about the sequel. I'm like, sequel? I haven't even played the damn game yet, man. Slow down a little bit. And then you got things like that I'm excited for personally, like Crackdown, which was really one of my favorite games on the OG Xbox.
Oh, yep.
Darksiders 3. I don't know if you ever played Darksiders, but that was a game that I totally got into, both the first and the second one. But man, and then there's I think a year ago at E3 there was a game called Skull and Bones that Ubisoft is doing. I don't know if you remember this game.
Yeah, the pirate game. Yep.
Right, the pirate game that was basically like the good parts of Assassin's Creed 4, the ship combat part of it, which I'm super jazzed for. So man, it was funny. I made this list, and I think on Switch there's Yoshi is still set to come out this year. I mean, who knows what that's going to be, and Octopath Traveler, which I always laugh my ass off at the name of that game. But
what a great demo. Got the demo. It was a great demo.
Awesome demo. Square makes it, right? Comes out in July. That game looks actually really good. They got to change the damn name of that game. That's like the stupidest name for a game I've ever heard. But dude, that was kind of it though. State of Decay we talked about before, right? That one is coming out, and I think you and I are going to play the hell out of that thing, and that's really soon. That's like in a month. But man, that I know that's a big list, but that was it. And it seems like in past years there's been these massive 2030, and maybe E3 will kind of get some more out there. But I'm jazzed for that group. Why don't you take me through the ones you're jazzed, and we can kind of talk about what jazzes us in general, because I think E3 is a big one, and it's coming up soon.
Man, you hit the nail on the head, Tom. You just went through a whole lot of games that I think I'm all jazzed up about. Crackdown 3, I cannot wait for that. Being a big Xbox guy, I loved Crackdown 1 and Crackdown 2, and it's fun, it's wild, it's crazy, and what they're promoting, or what they have been promoting, it's kind of gone quiet for a little bit, has been really cool looking with the multiplayer side, a lot of destruction, that Levolution keyword right there. I love those hot words like that. Yep. God of War tomorrow. Whoa. We're going to talk about what gets you hyped, but man, all these review scores, people freaking out over a God of War game. Remind you, God of War has been great, but it's run its course on the button mashing, and a lot of people used to just downgrade it for that. So to hear everybody get back on this hype train of it, it must be something special coming up. State of Decay 2, can't wait. Another big Xbox game for myself. Co-op, getting into that one too. That's going to be awesome to play with 4 people. Love that base survival instincts type zombie game right there. And man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Rockstar. Here we go, baby. You could just go dead silent until the release date, and my hype level would still be through the roof for this game.
Yeah, huge, man. I think of the if I look at the list of, kind of putting them in order for me, Red Dead, well, it was in my top 10 list that last time, so I got to put Red Dead first. That's October 26th I've got. Man, and second for me, believe it or not, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Did you play any of the recent Tomb Raider releases?
Loved both of them. They were great. They were great.
Fantastic games, man. I love those games. I think Crystal Dynamics has done an amazing job with that series. I mean, that game is so up my alley as far as mechanics and stuff. I got to go two on that one. You put Spider-Man in one or
Oh,
two, like right
Spidey!
there,
Yep,
right? I
yep.
mean, that's up there for me. We didn't talk about Detroit. Where do you fall on Detroit? Are you
I think
excited
my
for
hype
it?
level has gone down for it. So I've been really excited at first. Then we had some, studio problems. Then we've had the game kind of go quiet, but I know it's right around the corner. I'm still excited for it, and I'm definitely going to play it, but my hype level is not through the roof as it would be for Spider-Man, God of War, Red Dead, where I'm just itching and dying to play it. Detroit's kind of been put on the back burner. I've almost forgot that it's even coming out, but it's right around the
Dude,
corner.
it's next
Tom.
month. Yeah,
Exactly.
May 25th. Quantic Dream, May 25th. Yeah, they have had some issues, but dude, that game is. I was not excited for it. Then I got really excited for it, and I'm kind of where you are now. Like I'm not really excited for it because it seems. I mean, all of David Cage's stuff seems like it's either going to be big hit or big miss. Did you play any of the previous stuff? Did you
I
play like
played
Heavy
Quantum
Rain?
Break. Haven't
Okay,
played anything like that, but I played Quantum Break on Xbox, and I liked that one a lot. I liked the show side of it. I liked the game side of it. I liked that blend between the two of them, and I thought that was a pretty cool Xbox exclusive right there for myself.
yeah, so he did. I'm trying to think of the other. There was the Ellen Page one. So he did Heavy Rain, which was the big
Yep.
narrative, crazy one back several years ago. I think that was PS3 game, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Willem Dafoe Ellen Page one. God, what was the name of that game? I'm drawing a blank on it. But I mean, Detroit looks like it could be really interesting. I mean, we talked last week, and I think we'll talk in future weeks about kind of this big divide between games now between Sony and Xbox. And man, it is no more indicative than if you look at this list. I mean, look what Sony's got coming out between Spider-Man and Detroit and God of War. And not that Crackdown won't be big because I think it will be big, and not that State of Decay won't be. But man, Sony once again is kind of miles ahead, and that doesn't
Yep.
even talk about The Last of Us and some other stuff that they've got coming out, kind of 2019 or whenever that stuff's going to be. So yeah, they're I will ask you this though. Does that list seem shorter? I mean, doesn't it seem like there was more stuff in past years? I mean, it always seemed, I mean, there'll be a Call of Duty game. We know that.
Yep.
I think there's going to be a Battlefield game. I think we heard that as well. There's going to be an Ace Combat game. And there's a couple of odds and ends. But man, this list looks really light to me as far as just total number of games. So I got to think that E3 this year is going to have a substantive amount of new releases, I think, only because this list just doesn't seem complete yet.
That's interesting, Tom. I didn't think about that. But, when it comes to my mind, I think both first parties always get about 3 to 4, maybe 5 big titles right there. You've already listed off 3 already big ones for PlayStation that are coming out right now. And then you got to add in all the third parties. So that seems in line with me. I'm sure we'll get fact checked on that one, but that seems in line with me. 3 to 4 big first parties, and then when you let the third parties carry the rest of the weight there is that's what I see most of the time.
Do you think there's going to be any really big ones? I mean, I was trying to think of some of the big series, if there's going to be another
Uh,
iteration of them or something.
I
You think there's
mean,
going to be
we'll see
catches
more
our
from
yeah,
Kojima. We're
yep,
going to see more of that game, Death Stranding. We'll
yep.
see a lot more hype around that one coming up this E3 because he continues to tease it, continues to put up more behind-the-scenes photos of Norman Reedus, Guillermo del Toro, the whole team back there. So I bet you we'll see a lot more of that. You got Halo 6 rumors coming up on the Xbox side, so you can bet your bottom dollar you're probably going to see something with the Master Chief and Cortana. Those are just a couple of games to name a few, but E3 is always our tipping point to get hyped for the holiday season, prepare for the next year. Mind you, we're already halfway through the year. Hard to think that we're already, nearing May right now,
I know.
and that's 5 months in, almost halfway. And man, we are cruising right now, but I expect a lot more come June. That's E3. We're right around the corner for that.
Yeah, and I think Bethesda will probably put something out too, right? They seem to be the masters now of that, early press conference that they throw like Sunday, or I think they even pushed it back to Saturday.
Yep.
If they throw out like another Skyrim
You might see
teaser,
another Elder
another
Scrolls. That's right.
Scrolls,
Get ready,
right?
folks.
A
Yep.
Skyrim follow-on. Yeah, there's a lot that could possibly happen. But man, dude, I'm hyped for the games that are coming out the rest of the year. But let's talk about kind of what in general kind of gets you hyped for new games. Is it as you said in the intro, is it review scores? Do you give a rip? Is it E3? Is it Is it trailers? Like what does it for you when you think about it?
I think the start is E3. Each and every June, all of us gamers gather around, whether it be our live stream on the television computer, whether it be in LA at the big time E3 press conferences. But I think it all begins for me at E3. You guys get up there. We got celebrities. We got game developers. We got the heads of both companies, Sony's, Microsoft, Nintendo's, and they're showing you everything they got. They want to get you on that hype train for what they're bringing out. And that is the big moment for me where I'm looking at my friends like, did you watch that? Oh, man, it might be coming out in 2019, but that's so cool. And that begins the cycle for me. And then, of course, if you give me those teaser trailers like Spider-Man, doing with the Game Informer guys, doing a little bit of the teaser trailers right there, a little bit of gameplay, some photos. I mean, now you start getting my motor running. Even if you're 4 months out, you just got to give me a little bit to entice me and keep me occupied with it. And then, of course, the review scores. I mean, right now, you and I are looking at God of War as we speak. 9.5, 10, 9.5, 9.2,
It's crazy.
9, all across the board. And now you really start to chomp at the bit because these reviews usually come out a week before, 2 weeks before, a day before. And so now you're really getting in your mind of, am I going to pre-order this? Now I have to pre-order this. Oh, I'm buying this immediately. And I think it all comes down to E3, couple of teaser trailers in between, and then I want to see a review score. All really puts into the mix of hype for me. And of course, what are my friends saying? What's Tom Bach thinking? What's my buddy B. Earl the Squirrel down the street saying? Are they all hyped for this? Are they going to sell me on the hype? How am I going to sell the hype to them? So it's a mix of all that into, one beautiful pot of just Gatorade get hype moments.
Yeah, baby. Man, it's crazy because I think these days it's so difficult. I mean, just the internet culture is so weird around these things too, because you have so many of these games that are, I could count, let me see, follow-on games: State of Decay 2, Red Dead 2, Shadow Tomb Raider, Crackdown 3, Darksiders 3. Like, these are all God of War. These are all, like, even though maybe quite a bit different, they're all follow-up games, right? And so the culture has turned into this. Everybody kind of has an opinion of a lot of the stuff that comes out before it comes out, even though they kind of have no real reason to do it, just because it's a sequel, right? And so the ones that I get the most hype for, man, I got to be honest, are kind of the ones we haven't seen before, ones that are brand new.
Okay, yep.
Right. A lot of times, like, we talked about Skull and Bones, like that really caught me at E3 whenever they showed it. Like, wow, that's really cool. They're doing something kind of completely different than what may have been out there before. Right. Those are the ones that kind of get me,
Yeah, totally, Tom. On that Skull and Bones point, it was so cool to see at that same E3 Sea of Thieves and Skull and Bones. You have Sea of Thieves, that cartoony, animated style, and then all of a sudden you see Assassin's Creed Black Flag pretty much in your face of like, hey, you're on a pirate boat. They never said anything about being on land or being on foot, but man, did all those graphics look cool. And I'm looking at my friends like, forget Sea of Thieves, look at this hype right here.
Right.
But then we didn't see much about it. But yeah, those new titles will always get you excited. Death Stranding, seeing what Kojima's going to do coming away from Konami. All of a sudden you get the craziest trailer you've ever seen in your life, and whoa, you could feel the hype is palpable right there.
Yeah, dude. And the one that really, I think my game of show last year was Anthem for that exact reason,
yep.
Right? BioWare's game, because it was so new and so crazy. And, I know they've had some issues now, and now they're talking about it being way out and stuff. But man, games like that, to me, are the ones that get me the most hyped. Yeah, I get excited for all the other ones, and I'm interested to see kind of how they iterate on all the second in the series and third in the series. But man, some of those new IPs really get me jazzed, way more than review scores. I mean, that's important, and I think you can kind of really, kind of hone in on if a game's going to be good or bad. But dude, I'm sure there's a ton of games you like. We're going to talk your top 10 today, which is awesome. That may not have reviewed perfectly, right? They may have been a little bit lower reviewed game, but you have a freaking ball with them. So to me, that's the one I probably put the least stock in. And because there's a lot of shenanigans, I think, with reviews in general, right? There's just I think everybody tries their best when they do those, but there's always some funny business, I think, with, is that really going to be what I would think of a game, as much as, like you said, your friends, people you trust, people I think that's kind of my next big checkpoint, right? What do you guys think of stuff?
Totally, Tom. And what's the presence on the store page? Every time I boot up my Xbox and or PlayStation, I go into that store, or I'm on the Xbox homepage where they have ads right there. What is in my face? What's speaking to me? You talked about review scores, and sometimes, you don't even go by the review scores because you already have that allegiance to the game. You already know what you want to get out of it. But man, what's the presence on the store? When I log on to Xbox, I want to see your game up there. You know, you talked about Extinction, that big game that was similar to Shadow of the Colossus, one guy fighting down big monsters. That was on the store page so much and in my face with cool different animations, different game photos, to the point where I almost bought it because I was like, man, this looks pretty cool now. If you kept feeding it to me, kept getting it in front of me.
Yeah, and that, it's funny, man. Speaking of review scores, so I bought that game, and I'm a physical disc guy. I bought that game and promptly returned it after reading all the reviews.
Wow, okay.
And never opened it, and mainly because, again, we talk every week about the game backlog being so huge. I knocked a couple games out this week that I've been wanting to play for a while. We can talk about that some other time. But that was one that kind of backfired on the review score one because I read it. I think it's like 50 on Metacritic, and I went, man, I've got like 7 or 8 games that are fantastic that I still haven't played yet that I'm dying to play. Am I really going to have time for this Extinction thing given you're in my PUBG schedule? I'm like, no, man, screw it. And I sent that shit back. I literally boxed it up and sent it right back. So that it kind of backfired. Dude, another game that I'll bring up. Did you play Ori and the Blind Forest at all?
I did not.
Oh my God, dude, that game was really, really fantastic. And it's one that if you ever see on sale, you should go get. Really, really cool game. There's a follow-on to that. I think it's called Ori and the Will o' the Wisp or something like that. I was just trying to look here a minute ago and see when that thing's coming out because I started thinking about indie games or what used to be kind of the old Xbox Live Arcade games, right? Kind of the smaller, what State of Decay used to be. And I don't know that I've kept up with too many of those that are coming out this year. I assume there's going to be some because there's everything from Inside, which has been a fantastic game, right? There's always been some really stellar first-party Microsoft games in particular that have come out as some of those a little bit under the radar games, and Ori's one that's definitely I'm excited for as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I love those indie ones. Like you brought up Octopath Traveler on Nintendo. They show you the game at E3, and then they say, hey, guess what? There's a free demo that you can download right now, and bang, guess what I'm on? I'm downloading that game. I'm not even a big fan of those tactical RPGs where they have you turn-based style, but guess what? Fell in love with it from the art style, the gameplay, and just to have it at my hands immediately so I can really test it out and see if this game is for me. I'm all about that.
Which is super cool, man. And I wish developers would learn. I mean, this is maybe a topic for another day, but this giant lag of when you start. I mean, you mentioned Death Stranding, right? By the time that game comes out, dude, we're going to be talking about that game for like 3 years.
Yep.
The last Metal Gear kind of did that, but maybe in a good way because everything that they showed was so positive. But man, and then you look at Bethesda a couple years ago, right? That they came out in E3 and said, by the way, Fallout is launching in 3 months, right? One of the biggest games ever, biggest franchises. You've only got to wait 3 months to get it. I think it was like June to November, whatever that is, 5 months. And I love doing it that way. The people that, and it's going to sound critical, that like tear apart all of these trailers like second by second and frame by frame, man, that stuff just pisses me off. It's like just cool it and wait for the thing to come out. And I kind of wish, I know they want to build hype, but I wish that they would shorten that window. I don't need to hear about a game now that's not going to release for 3 years, because what happens if it doesn't release, people start saying, oh, there's problems, there must be issues, there must be some shit, some stuff going on with it, where that may not be the case. These games take forever to develop. They're really complicated. Just maybe tell me a year ahead of time that it's coming out, right? I don't need to know 2.5, 3 years ahead of time. I think that's a big mistake that a lot of these guys make.
Totally. I like that, Tom. That is going to be my hype moments. You got anything else to add to hype topic number 1 before we skip on over?
No, man, I think that's it. I think, man, I'm excited for tomorrow with God of War. I don't know that I've been that excited for a game, and maybe it was the fact that everybody's played it and the reviews have come out. It's felt like an eternity, and I've managed to avoid all the big spoilers. I've seriously probably watched about 1 minute of gameplay, so I think I'm ready to sit on the couch tomorrow and just feast on that thing, man.
He's ready to get hype. And, my final note is the hype is only beginning. Truly, we get out of the holiday period and we get into this slump. We get into this lull of having 1 or 2 big-time game titles, and they're really figuring out that Q1 market. People are hungry for a new game. But now the hype train is about to begin. You got your calendar circled for E3. We're going to have so many more conferences, so many more big-time gaming events where the hype is only going to get raised up to the next level in preparation of next holiday season, which is right around the corner when you really think about it. So get ready, get your Gatorade out, and hype is on the way.
I love it.
But That has been topic number one. Now it's time, blow the whistle, because we are jumping into some sports talk. And gosh darn, Tom Bach, this is going to be the best because we are now in full effect of the NBA playoffs, round number one, which means we get 3 to 4 games every single night, Tom. It's a basketball fan's dream come true. You know, last episode we talked about seedings. We talked about where everybody was going to be. Well, guess what? Now this week we are already 2 games into each and every series, and we got a whole lot to talk about. So let's kick it on over to the East, Tom. I know you've been watching a lot of ball just like I have, but let's go through all the seeds. So 1 through 8, you got Raptors currently up 2-0 in the series over the Washington Wizards. What have you taken away from that matchup right now, Tom? Have you seen enough of it?
I have. I've watched both games, man. That Toronto looks really good, man. DeMar DeRozan's playing out of his mind. Kyle Lowry's playing great. I know he had a ton of pressure on him going into this series. I was worried about Toronto as the 1 seed and all the pressure they were under. They're making it look pretty easy right now, which is hard to do against a John Wall, Bradley Beal team. So I mean, they're gonna. Washington will win 1 in DC, but that's it. This will be 5 games and be over.
I like that, Tom. I agree. And it's nice to see Kyle Lowry, you know, playing hard, getting the love that he deserves. You know, over the past couple years, people have been saying, where is Kyle Lowry? What is he doing in the playoffs? Because we always see DeMar ball out, but Kyle's been shaky sometimes in the playoffs. On, off, hot, cold. And this year, him and DeMar have been balling it up. The whole team has. And they're making light work of the Washington Wizards. I mean, it's not looking good for them. I do want to bring up, though, Game 2, Toronto was up by 23 points heading into the fourth quarter. Washington eliminates that lead and then still loses by 11. I mean, how can you blow a 23-point lead? How, if you're Washington playing away, how do you not capitalize on that and at least secure the W and steal one? But, man, that's a good matchup. Toronto's playing well, like you said, and man, it'd be lucky if Washington can steal 1 game at home. That's a scary thing to say, as Washington in the past couple of years has been a 3 or 4 seed in the East, a tough team, but they're missing a piece. John Wall and Bradley Beal cannot do it all. They are missing a superstar, and they need one real bad.
Yeah, if they had a big man, I think it would be an entirely different kind of a series. But it is what it is right now, and Toronto's record's no joke, man. They won 60 games. I mean, they're proving why they did what they seem to be playing. It seemed like every playoff before they got a little scared and tentative. Dude, they seem to be enjoying themselves. I don't know if you've seen their press conferences. Like, they seem like they're just kind of playing grab ass with each other. Like, they're having some fun. And this time of year, this is the second season. You better have some fun if you plan on going deep, right? And they are. So
I love it.
I'm really impressed.
Talk about having fun. Shout out to the Toronto Raptors mascot for stealing Russell Westbrook's style. That was great. We'll put a photo up of that. But I love when you're having fun. When your team is winning, you can do silly stuff like that, and you can keep everybody off edge. Let's move on down to the 2-7. You got Boston with the rookies, the sophomores, taking it to the Milwaukee Bucks. 2-0 currently in that series. What are you thinking about that one right now, Tom?
I think Brad Stevens should be Coach of the Year.
He could be it every year. He's so good,
dude. Look, Jaylen Brown and Jason. I don't know if they had any idea when they drafted those kids what that was going to turn into. I assume that they had some indication, but dude, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were playing out of their minds. I mean, for a team to go through what they've gone through. And granted, Kyrie was there for the bulk of the year for them to secure the 2nd seed, right?
Yep.
But they are looking so much better. I thought the Greek Freak would, and he still may. Look, this is just chalk at this point. They're supposed to win those first 2 games. This may be the series that ends up a little different than what it started. But, dude, I expect Giannis to go out and score 40 anytime he feels like it, and that this would sort of be the series that he would go kind of do this in. So maybe this one turns around. But, man, Brad Stevens just seems to be able to coach his way with the pieces that he has, how he envisions the game flow going. And it's like you can just kind of put whoever in the system. It's a little Spurs-like in that respect, right? I mean, it kind of is what he's doing. He's proven you kind of really don't need the same pieces you may have had or anticipated you're going to have. I've been real impressed with Boston, but dude, the Greek Freak, I mean, come on. That could be a huge change coming out for him on national TV and everything else. Maybe he dominates these next couple of games. They're in the first quarter right now, I think, down by 10. So Milwaukee's down by 10, that is.
I love that, Tom, and I totally agree. The sophomores, the freshmen are balling out for Boston. Al Horford playing great as a veteran to carry
Solid.
this team. Without Kyrie, without Gordon Hayward, you didn't think this Boston team really had it in them to come into this second seed, especially against a tough young Milwaukee team with the Greek Freak, but they're playing great. A big-time unsung hero that you didn't bring up, Terry Rozier, the point
Oh,
guard for
right.
Boston, 72 minutes. That's 2 full games with 0 turnovers, people. That's what you want from your point guard right there. And then on the opposite side, Giannis is balling out the Greek Freak. Chris Middleton is playing well. Eric Bledsoe is nowhere to be found in this series right
No,
now.
no.
They had a press conference with him after game 2. They brought up the 0 turnover fact for Terry Rozier, his matchup, and he looked at the camera and dead set said, I don't know who that is. Well, guess what there, Eric Bledsoe? That's the young guy balling you
your ass.
up, big dog. So pull your
Kicking
head
your
out of your
ass.
ass and pull it together right now because you're getting slapped around. I mean, Giannis is doing everything he can. Chris Middleton has a huge game 1, then doesn't shoot the basketball until the third quarter of game 2. If you come off a hot game 1 as Chris Middleton, you got to look at Eric Bledsoe and say, give me the ball no matter what. The Greek Freak is going to do him, but you got to get us secondary guys going right now, and Bledsoe not helping this team go forward right now. I would be interested to see if they'll take one in at home in Milwaukee, but Tom, I think this is going to be a sweep. I don't think this team is playing like they need to play.
Yeah, what's really weird too, and I was just looking at the stats. The Greek Freak was 13 for 17. He shot like, what is that, 80% from the field. Chris Middleton was 10 of 14. Those guys need to be putting up 25 shots a game. If you're going to shoot anywhere near that percentage and beat this team, you'd better be getting them a lot more shots, to your point. And by the way, that was in such poor taste what Bledsoe did. Like, who's that? That guy's kicking your ass, man. I mean, I understand you don't want to give us, what is he, second-year guy, any kind of props, but dude, come on, bro. Come on, you know who I saw.
You
either
you know
Reggie
who
Miller
you're
or something
balling
like,
against is right.
you look at the back of his jersey. He's got his name right on it, right? Not real hard to see. Rozier the third. This guy's kicking the shit out of you. You probably should take note. But you may, it could be a sweep. Dude, I just have such a. I love watching Giannis. I mean, dude, he is a freak. He legitimately is a freak, and I think he can go out and score 50. He could, and I hope when one of these next couple games, I want to see this series get more interesting. But dude, shout out to Brad Stevens, man. That guy's an amazing coach. He really
Great
is.
coach. All right, let's move on down to the 3-6 matchup, and this one has been getting fun. Philly 1-1 against the Miami Heat, and oh boy, they've been yelling, Father Time has struck again. The time has been rewound, and D-Wade has balled out game 2. But guess what? D-Wade's always been balling out, as his power couple would say. Gabrielle Union. He's never gone anywhere. It's D-Wade, folks. But that one's been a fun one, and it's 1-1, leaving Philly, heading down to Miami, and we haven't even seen Joel Embiid hit the court yet. Coming off of that orbital fracture in his face, he still hasn't even got back on the court. They say they're babying him. He's cleared percussion protocol, but this is a guy, for the past 2 years, we have been babying him. We don't want him to get injured again. And, you know, if we're going 1-1 here at home for Philly, the young group, over Miami, you know, I'm fine with letting him sit these games right now. So we'll see if he comes into game 3, though.
I think I'm reading an article now. I think they said he's cleared for game 3. Whether that means they're gonna get him in or not, I don't know, dude. And look, I know there's a lot of Heat fans out there, and between Dragic and D Wade could make a lot of noise, and certainly with Hassan Whiteside. But I think Philly can win this game without Embiid, or win the series without Embiid, I should say. I don't know that you want to rush him back. Look, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what an orbital fracture long term could ever turn into for the kid, but I think they can win without him. It may be a little bit longer series. I don't think that's a problem for them. Dude, they've got so much talent on that team. They really do, for a team that I saw a stat the other day that kind of blew my mind, that they won more games this year, whatever it was, 51 games or 52, than they did in the 3 previous years combined.
Oh, amazing.
And think about that. It's crazy, right? So
trust the process, and guess what? It's not the process anymore. It's the moment if you're a Philly fan. And we are here right now. Ben Simmons, the whole team is balling out. It's great to see them. 1-1, heading down to the 305 Miami. It's going to be a good one, so make sure to keep an eye on that one. And our final Eastern Conference matchup, that 4v5, LeBron James the King and the Cavaliers tied up 1-1 against Indiana the Pacers. What are you taking away from that one, Tom?
Dude, I'm taking away what I did last night, which was the King. It was that first quarter was insane. He's like a locomotive getting to the rack. There is no stopping him when he wants to do it. But I will say, Them scoring 46 is not the key to victory. As you know, they had a shot. I mean, the Pacers had a shot to tie that game. And with LeBron scoring 46, that's a problem for that team. Kevin Love's hand is now hurt. Dude, the other guys on the Cavs, they can't get in watch LeBron mode. Dude, LeBron could score 70. You and I both know if he wanted to. Would he be gassed? Yes. Would that suck for future series? Yes. Them winning is not LeBron scoring 46. It's not. And they're lucky to get away with that win in a funny way yesterday in a game that they should have dominated with. If LeBron scores 46, you better win by 20, right? So that series is going the distance is all I know. I think that's going to be the most exciting of the bunch. It's going the distance.
This is scary because when we started this, last week's podcast was, this is a LeBron James dominated East. Now here we are, game one. Indy slaps Cleveland by 18 points. Then here we are in game two. LeBron 40, 12, and 5, and the team only wins by 2 points, Tom. Just
Crazy.
like you said, perfect words there. The team can't watch LeBron. You have to do something. If you're Kyle Korver, if you're Tristan Thompson, where has Tristan Thompson
Where's
been,
JR?
my man? Wake
JR?
up, JR.
Right.
But all these guys around LeBron, the king can't carry you. And, I mean, that's an MVP-like performance. 40, 12, and 5, but they still only win by 2 points. Oh, my gosh. Cleveland, going into Cleveland now, might get that home court advantage, might get a little rest, might get a little locomotion, but you got to be careful around this Indiana team right now with Victor Oladipo, born ready Lance Stevenson. These guys are looking to come for LeBron James, and I think you said it best. This one's going to go for a couple of games here. We're not going to see a 5-game series with LeBron and the team taking these rest of them. We might see a 6 or 7 here just to start off the playoffs for the Cavs, and that's not what you want to do if you're a Cleveland fan.
No, you don't. You don't want him to get gassed early. We've seen him get gassed late in playoff series when he takes too much of a load. Dude, I'll leave you with this on this series. Oladipo is, that guy is a budding superstar, if not already a freaking superstar.
Amazing.
Right? I mean, dude, just amazing. And secondly, is there anything funnier in sports than watching Lance Stevenson
and LeBron? Come
like,
on.
Dude, I mean, as Barkley always says, you need a crazy guy on your team if you're going to win a championship. Lance is clearly that crazy guy.
Yep.
But he is so not afraid of LeBron in any way, shape, or form, even though he should be freaking terrified of him. He's not. And there's nothing I enjoy more than watching the two of them go at it, dude. I love it.
I love it, Tom. And yes, you got to play fearless, and you got to have that guy that's not afraid to ball up against LeBron. And we're talking about the best player in the world, the best player of almost all time. And there's Lance Stevenson sitting much smaller than him, height and weight size, and he is not afraid to back down at all. And he knows he can ball, and they're going to take it to LeBron for the rest of this series. But that's been your East Coast Conference right now. It's been back and forth. Had a good couple of 2-0s, 1-1s on 2 of the series, so it's been split down the middle. Let's jump over to the West Coast, Best Coast, Western Conference right now. You're 1 versus 8. Houston, 2-0 over the T-Wolves. Minnesota, they need some help. What are they doing up there, Tom?
Dude, I don't know. And it just goes to show you last night when you have multiple superstars. Harden was terrible last night. I mean, by Harden standards, He was terrible. Dude, CP3 took the game over, obviously. They're fortunate to be in that position to kind of rely on other people. Clint Capella. I mean, I don't – Karl Anthony Towns is playing – I mean, I love the kid. He's a good kid by all things you've seen. What's he doing, man? He is lost out there. He doesn't even look like he wants to be out there. He is by far their best player. So I'm kind of shocked. Jimmy Butler's not playing. I mean, I think this is a sweep to me. I don't see this going outside of 4, maybe 5 if they're lucky.
I agree, Tom. I mean, game 1, mind you, it was a close game right there. T-Wolves had a chance to possibly take it. Game 2, you hit the nail on the coffin. James Harden doesn't even play James Harden standards, and the team beats him by like 12 to 18 points.
And
we just talked
close.
about LeBron James doing an MVP performance, 40, 12, and 5, and the team barely wins by 2. James Harden on the opposite side, he could take the night off, and the team still slaps him by 18 points. So, wow. Minnesota, great to see these young stars in the playoffs get a little experience, but this is not what you want to see if you're a T-Wolves fan. You want to see them stay close, at least take a game at home, but I don't see any indications of Houston backing off and letting that happen whatsoever, Tom.
I don't either. I think this one is a nothing more than a warm-up for Houston, who had a fantastic year, obviously. I expect them to coast right through this.
Totally. Let's jump on over to that 2-7. Our 2 favorite teams battling it up. GS Dub, the Golden State Warriors, 2-0 over the San Antonio Spurs. Tom, This one's been shaky. I mean, San
Uh,
Antonio played a little bit better in game two, kept it close, but still, without a Kawhi-led team, this San Antonio Spurs, this is a catwalk for the Warriors, who don't even have Steph Curry. Durant, Clay are playing strong right now. You're getting to see the backup point guard play a whole lot of minutes. Andre seems to be fine off of the knee injury. Draymond not getting any technicals, which is great. I don't know, Tom. Your San Antonio Spurs don't look like the same playoff team as last year.
well, and unfortunately, with what happened with Pop's wife last night, I'm sure that's probably. I mean, you kind of saw the entire NBA rally around him, which I thought was really amazing. It's amazing how much the Spurs kind of kept that quiet, which I just have a lot of appreciation for, right? That didn't become a media thing. He's obviously known his wife was getting close to this spot. I'm sure she'd been battling this for a long time. I hate to say it, but the off the court stuff does matter, and I think that's I don't think it's going to help motivate the Spurs. I think that's just kind of the last little bit that they had in them. From a gameplay standpoint, though, man, look, this is what the Warriors needed to have happen.
Yep.
Was be pushed a little bit at times, not for games, but at times they were pushed a little bit in game two. The Spurs just don't have the talent right now to keep up with this team. They can go on any kind of a big run and kind of stop it almost immediately. It's going to be a sweep, and especially with what kind of happened, I think with Pop's not going to be there, I'm sure, the next two games. Not that matters a ton, right? He's got capable assistant coaches, but this one's over, and it's exactly what the Dubs needed, which I think is great.
Oh, totally, Tom. And we're going to talk about that in the coming series. But yes, they needed a San Antonio Spurs that will push them a little bit throughout the games, but not the whole game to get their motor running. And now this is going to be an easy sweep for them, as it looks like these guys are just going to limp off the court for them. And they'll get prepared for round two with Steph returning and be prepared for the next matchup. Because, man, when we jump into these next couple matchups, they didn't want anything to do with these guys. So your 3 versus 6. New Orleans, the 6 seed, 2-0 over the Portland Trailblazers. What is going wrong in the Rose City right now, Tom?
Dude, I don't know. So I've watched about half of those two games. And, I mean, look, Anthony Davis is arguably the second best player in the NBA behind LeBron. I mean, you put Harden up there, Steph, a few other guys, KD. But, dude, when AD is playing, that guy, there's times like they'll do certain camera angles in those games. He just looks physically bigger than anybody I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
His arms are so long. His stride is so big. Him getting to the rack is so effortless. Like, dude, he's what, like Giannis. Giannis is that same body type, right? Can kind of just take over a game by himself. He's that good on offense and on defense. This one shocks the hell out of me. I expect Dame Lillard to. I mean, he's playing okay, I guess, by his standards, but 2-0 and both games were in Portland? Really?
We're talking in the Rose City, one of the biggest basketball fanatic cities in the nation. This is the only thing that Portland has up there. And, man, the Mama's boys, C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard, they've been doing their thing. They've been balling, but really when it comes down to it, they haven't been doing enough because they don't have a supporting cast. And when you look on that opposite side, New Orleans, this is a team that almost didn't make the playoffs. Boogie has been injured and out for the whole season with the Achilles, and his supporting cast, Rondo, is playing like playoff Rondo. Big-time 3 in Game 2 to put him up back by 5 to get that secured W. Jrue Holiday, if you didn't know Jrue Holiday was a baller, you haven't been keeping track of that team. You know now, because that big-time block at the end of Game 1 to secure that victory up by 2, and then he's just been balling a couple of big dunks, nice, easy shots. This New Orleans team, we're going to be having a conversation come the offseason after what they've done and probably progress into the second round of, do we even need Boogie? Boogie's up for a big-time contract, and now they're going to be having that way on their mind of, we don't got to pay him that much to keep him if we want, or we can move on without him because these 3 guys are balling right now against Portland.
Yeah, but think of them with Boogie, though, man. That's like, I mean, he's a walking 2010. Like that, I don't know. I hear you. And maybe it's a different dynamic with him not being there. They're kind of proving it. I just think this is a really bad matchup. For whatever weird reason, this happens in the playoffs sometimes. This is a bad matchup for the Blazers. It just is.
Portland's a guard team. They need to match up against a guard team like Golden State, where they can steal a couple.
Much better.
They need to match up with Houston. But when you play these big guys that New Orleans has, it's not pretty for them at all.
No, this will be an interesting one. I don't think this one's over. I know 2-0 when you win on the road, it seems like they're going to coast to it. I think Dame Lillard's got too much in him, and I think C.J. McCollum's got too much in him. They're going to win one of the next 2 games. I promise you Portland will win one of those games. I think the series could go a little long, but dude, that's a pretty big upset if New Orleans kind of puts pedal to the metal and closes this out. We'll see.
Let's see what the Mama's boys can do. Moving on down to our final Western Conference series, 4 versus 5. The Oklahoma City Thunder are rolling against the Utah Jazz. Tom, we just talked about Golden State getting San Antonio in the luck of the draw before last week. This could have been the matchup, Golden State versus OKC. And oh boy, the big three are balling out. You got Russ doing what Russ does. You got Paul George just in the face of Joe Ingles for Utah, knocking down shots, being really aggressive, being the PG-13 that you want to see. And then you got my boy, Hoodie Melo, playoff Melo, is finally in effect, giving it his all. I think he's finally got rejuvenated, or he's pumped to be a part of this. And look at this team now, 2-0 against the Jazz.
No, it's 1-1, man. 1-1. Utah won last night.
Oh, what? No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my fault.
Yeah. You're off one. So Dunkervin had a big game last night, man. So they're 1-1, but OKC is balling, dude. They were winning that entire game. Or the entirety. I'm looking at the kind of game flow. The late third into the fourth quarter, they were doing fine. I didn't watch all of this game. But this is one that I think is actually going to get interesting, too. This was the one matchup you and I were most scared about for the Dubs. If OKC gets out of this quickly, like if they were to get through and not put a lot of mileage on, not get really tired, all that, right, that would make this a long series. I think this series may go longer. I don't know how hurt Donovan Mitchell is. He didn't appear to be hurt last night. He's got like a contusion on his foot, I think, or something. I'm not sure exactly what the injury was. But, dude, he went for 30 or 28 last night. So it's
the rookie playing strong.
Dude, he's amazing. Like I told you the other day when you and I were playing PUBG on the stream, I'm like, man, he reminds me of Harden in a lot of ways. Like his body type, the way he moves, like he seems to be able to get a shot whenever he wants to get it, which is, to me, the mark of like the guys that separate in the NBA. Those are the guys that can get a shot no matter what's going on. They can always get their shot. He's kind of one of those guys, which means he can single-handedly kind of win some games. So this is one. I think OKC is going to turn this around. To all the points you mentioned, all the big three are balling. They're playing great. Utah may steal another one. I see this one going 6, and I see OKC winning this one in 6.
Oh, that's great to hear. Well, my apologies on the wrong stat, but that's awesome for Utah. Dunkervin having a great round right now. My boy, the Spanish porn star, Ricky Rubio, looking great. For a guy who's been a pro athlete since 17, he's now 27, 10 years of, pro athletic basketball. This guy still has game. He was up in Minnesota, didn't really get what they wanted from him. Now down in Utah with Dunkervin around him, now with Rudy Gobert around him, I think, Rubio really has the pieces that he needed to shine down there.
So you like the beard? You like the
I like the new look. I'll put up a photo of young Ricky versus now old Ricky. Mr. Ricky Steal Your Chick is what I'm going to call him from now on, because he's coming for your ladies.
He is coming for the ladies. There's no doubt about it, man.
And
that's awesome.
That now wraps up conversation topic number 2. Sports talk is over, all you gamers. We're heading back into gaming territory, but man, if you're a sports fan or you want to become one, now is the perfect time each and every year. NBA and hockey playoffs are all at the same time. You can't get anything better. Nothing is better than basketball being on 3 to 4 games a night. And on the opposite side, if you haven't watched hockey or are timid to get into it, now is the time with playoff hockey where they gave it their all. They go at each other constantly on the ice. This is the time to get into it, sports fans. You got all 3 of the major sports, basketball, hockey, and baseball out there. Of course, football, we already got the draft coming up next week. Right. All your sports are coming into a line right now.
Hey, before we go on this, Mike, is there anything you've seen in the playoffs that have caused you to change what you and I picked last week with a Cavs-Dubs final? Anything you've seen that's changed it?
Cavs, probably. I still got the Dubs over Houston. I'm still confident with that with Steph to return. But now when I look over at the East, I see the Cleveland Cavaliers faltering against the Pacers. If they don't take these 2 games at home and get out of this series quickly, you're going to have a big issue taking against Boston and Toronto here. I mean, mind you, the next matchup that they're going to have is, I believe, going to be, Raptors are going to play, the 3-6? So Raptors will play the Heat or Philly. That means Boston's going to come after either Cleveland or Indiana, and now that's going to put LeBron and the team to another test of another long series. So we might see something different change in the East here. This might be the moment.
All right. We'll see. Here we go.
What about you? You got anything before we go?
I think I'm still in the same spot. Yeah, I'm a little more concerned, but dude, it's LeBron. Like from what I saw last night, assuming he can keep his wind, he's just not going to let you lose 4 out of 7, period, full stop. They're going to the finals in the East. That's where I fall.
All right, he's
So,
sticking with the king. I like that. Well, that concludes topic number 2 now, and we're going to move into topic number 3, which is all about me, and it's going to be a fun time. Last week, we got to talk with Tom Bach. We got to learn a little bit more about him. That's the goal of this podcast, to share each other's shared gaming passions and sports passions, for me and him to grow together, and for all of you guys out there that may be watching, best friends, supporting, viewing, anything that you're doing, gives a little insight onto what we feel, what we think about, and helps you connect with us better. So it was awesome to get Tom Bach's top 10 and some of his honorable mentions. Now Tom has asked me to put together my top 10, and man, Tom threw down the gauntlet last week. He had some killer top 10s. He had dates. He had producers. He had developers. He had everything. And now your boy SnowBikeMike's got to answer the call and come with my top 10. Are you guys
I haven't
ready?
seen him for everybody's.
I didn't share it with him. It's right. I just wrote him
this.
down.
My reactions are going to be as genuine because I have no idea what's coming. Here we go.
All right, well, let's start off with my honorable mentions. I selected 3. At number 1, Diablo 2. Diablo 2 rings big time home to me. Me and Jackson back in the day, we had mom's computer. This is when the internet really started to bud out, and you would be plugging in to your parents' phone lines. Diablo 2 was a big one for me and Jackson, getting to play as different characters. Then you had the expansion, Lord of Destruction. You had a fun multiplayer where you could team up with other people. You could fight each other in duels. And that's when me and Jackson first got exposed to hacking video games, where we learned that people were creating their own weapons and armors for their own gangs, whether it be gold, whether it be cool, reputation, and bang. All of a sudden, me and Jackson were hacking the game, making our own armor sets. They were never as good, but it was pretty cool.
Very cool. Okay.
Okay, honorable mention number 2, Perfect Dark. N64, what a perfect time. You had GoldenEye, you played so much of it, and then you needed to get revitalized on that 4 split screen shooter, and there was Perfect Dark. Joanne had the dual co-op single player, but you had 4-player. You could play the gun games just like GoldenEye, but it had a little more guns, a little cooler situations going on. It had characters that were a little bit different than just the James Bond villains. So Perfect Dark, big one that rings true to me. And then Xbox 360 launch title, folks, starting off with multiplayer online, had the original story. I mean, you can't beat Perfect Dark being from both generations. What a great time with those. And my final honorable mention, I go by SnowBikeMike. I'm a snowboard and skiing guy, so I got to give some love to Amped 3 on Xbox 360. I'm a big fan of the Sean Palmer 1080s. I was a big fan of Shaun White's games. And then you started getting SSX Trickies. You started to get Amped. And by the time they hit Amped 3, they really dialed it down of it's not super realistic, but it's not off the walls crazy like SSX Tricky. So it met right in the middle of just a little fun, kind of fantasy, kind of wild. They had sledding involved, and they were all about, doing crazy things, rail grinding, hitting the boxes, hitting big air, doing some powder stuff. Amp3 hit it on the nose for me. And
love
that
it.
has been my honorable mentions. Now we're going to get into my top 10 of all time for me that ring, real close to home. So number 10, Fallout New Vegas. From Bethesda, it was a perfect time. Fallout 3 came out. It wasn't perfect. Mind you, it was very dark. It was gloomy out there in Washington, D.C. They only had that odd aim. What they call that, the special aim where you chose where you aimed at them, but they never had free sight aim where you could aim down the gun.
VATS.
Yeah, VATS. They only had VATS. And so Fallout New Vegas, to take us to a sunnier situation, of course, you're out there in Vegas with gambling. You got the casinos at New Vegas. You got the California War Republic. You got all these guys. You got different factions to choose from. And then they added the aim down sights to really elevate that gunplay. That was the moment for me where I was like, I love this game series to the moon and back. All right, number 9. We've been playing it on stream. Got to give some love to Skate 3. Skate 3 took it up to the next level for me. I mean, of course, you loved Tony Hawk Pro Skater. There was a Razor scooter game back in the day, but Skate 3 really perfected all of that, and instead of just making massive combos and kind of unrealistic gameplay with Tony Hawk, they proceeded to say, hey, we're going to really fine-tune this. You got to have really great flick-the-stick games. We're going to have more fun, really dedicated skateboarding. And, man, did that ring home from Skate 1 to Skate 3, and they made it perfect in Skate 3. EA, give us Skate 4. What are you doing?
Dude, when was Skate? Like, how long ago was that game? When did that release?
I bet you it was 10 years ago now, Tom.
Has it been
Maybe.
that long? Because
It's
when I
gotta
was
be.
watching the other day, and I was never a huge skate guy, it looked way better than I
Oh.
thought it was going to look. Like, it doesn't look like a 10-year-old game to me.
You know what? Shout out to Xbox backwards compatibility, because you
Yep.
now can play that 360 game on your Xbox, and with Xbox One enhancements, it's in 4K if you'd like to play it in that. So amazing stuff on that Xbox side to rejuvenate some of these games, you know, that you love from the past, that you want to be ported up, that you want to have a little bit better graphics. Skate 3, amazing to think it could be played in 4K.
Yeah, it looked good. It looks good to see it now. It really does.
All right, number 8, the game that turned my household into a whole nother world, World of Warcraft. Like we talked about, I mean, we're back to the beginning of the internet days. Here comes World of Warcraft promoting that we're always online. You can create your character. You have dungeons. You have raids. You have PvP. You have normal just mission stuff. And mind you, I was never that good at this game. My little brother was great. If you want to really know how good SnowBikeMike was, I would get to the level of Dead Mines, which is like a level 12 to 18 raid, and I would do Dead Mines over and over again. I think that's the farthest I ever got in vanilla World of Warcraft, and it was still one of the greatest games I've ever played.
And you were fully in this, paying the subscription every month?
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole 9 yards.
Oh, yeah. I think
Yeah,
we even paid the subscription when me and Jackson never played the game anymore. I think Mom
Yeah.
still's paying for it on her credit card.
I was gonna
She
say,
like
you're
called me like 3 years ago, like, do you know what this account charge is? And I'm like, oh shit, they've been charging you since 2002.
right. Blizzard's got you for like $1,000 at this point, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Number 7 is going to be a little bit mixed, but number 7 is devoted to NBA Street Volume 2. Ooh, nothing better than doing something you love, which is basketball, putting it on the street, ankle breaking, slam dunking, alley-ooping, all of that with the Game Breakers. Oh my gosh, what a great game. I can still play it on my PS2 to this day, turn it on, stream it whenever I want. And, you know, with the NBA Street Volume 2, I want to give some more love to some of those arcadey sports games. So NFL Blitz, NFL Street, NHL Hits, FIFA Street, all of these games I played with my friends in my household, still have each and every one of those titles hard copy in this house today. Man, when you take sports and make it a little more arcadey, more fun, I'm all aboard for that. Number 6, Halo 2 on the original Xbox. Again, the internet is budding. Me and my friends, my best friend AJ Tesserero had a brother who was 4 years older than us. Halo 2 released, and I tell you, the Tesserero household had 20 kids inside of that house at a time each and every day after school. I mean, it would be a flood. They had to buy 2 separate Xboxes to accommodate all the kids in there because
That's
Phil
awesome.
would have his friends, all the older group. They're playing 4 deep or split screen online. We're over here with 4 kids, split screen online, and man, what a great game there to take Halo 1 Combat Evolved and move it into that big team battle, online rankings, all of a sudden team deathmatch. I mean, I've never seen more kids scream at video games more than that. And that's truly the video game that hooked me to the point where I had to have every console. I had to play video games all the time because it was so amazing.
Dude, and what's funny is too, and even with the current, you know, Halo Guardian, Halo 6, whatever the hell the latest one number was, they wanted to get back to that kind of multiplayer,
Yep.
right? The small team battles, the 5-on-5s, that game was so, even the single player in that game, playing as the Arbiter and doing all the stuff that single player did, that you know, that probably should have been on my list too, because that game was truly revolutionary in so many ways.
It will go down in history. And like multiplayer, you could even be an alien if you wanted to. You can be
Right.
one of the aliens. And then all my friends would be like, oh, you can't play as an alien. He's got too big of a head. He'll headshot you all the time. I'm like, no, I'm playing as an alien. Don't worry about it. But man, what a great game on that one. I'll never forget. Now, number 5, a more recent title, one that we've been addicted to, Tom. We had a topic about it before. I have to put it on there. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. PUBG has taken over my life. I almost had it at number 1, but I had to, keep some of the games back in the day as my number 1. But this game right now is the only game that I want to play each and every day, averaging about 4 to 6 hours a night, 7 days a week on PUBG right now on Xbox One. Mind you, I'm not playing PC. I don't like the mouse and keyboard setup, but if you can put something that amazing from PC onto Xbox, onto PS4, and have that grab so many people, oh my gosh, PUBG has to be on the list.
And there's so much more coming. There's new maps. I saw a thing the other day that they're going to do just like a respawn mode where you're just going to go out and fight and shoot. And as soon as you die, you get to come back in, sort of like deathmatch.
I saw that kind of a team deathmatch, yeah.
Can you imagine that game with team deathmatch? Like, that's going to be, it's what you and I beg for, like learning to get better at shooting and everything else. So yeah, it's a good one for the list.
PUBG. All right, now we're in the top 5 right now. Number 4, Warcraft 3. Before I ever played StarCraft, before I played any real-time strategy games, there was Warcraft 3 on my PC. We didn't even know what we were buying then, but man, was that amazing to have it again. The beginning of the internet days. You're going to hear me say that a lot, but man, to have multiplayer 4-on-4 death matches like that with that real-time strategy, me and my brother played hours of it. AJ, I forced him to buy it. We had to figure out how we could host each other, how we both could play as a team. And then Blizzard provided daily tournaments to keep us wanting to come back, whether it be 1v1s, 2v2s, 4-on-4s. I mean, that game took it up to the next level for me. I never could get into StarCraft, but Warcraft 3 spoke to me. To this day, I pray every single day when I wake up, man, will they ever announce Warcraft 4 for me? Will they give me another real-time strategy with the Warcraft license? Maybe. Probably not, though.
That's such a big name. It will eventually happen, I think, given what, kind of Blizzard and everybody. Don't count on it not happening. Put it that way.
I like that. Okay, Tom. Number 3, we've talked about it before. Gauntlet Legends on N64. This was when we first got our N64. I'll never forget it. Still have the game cartridge to this day plugged into my N64. Me, Jackson, Mom, and Dad, all 4 of us are playing Gauntlet Legends for hours on end, to the point where Dad falls asleep with the controller in his hands. Me, Mom, and Jackson stay up all night, still playing Archer, Wizard, Barbarian, Valkyrie, just screaming, laughing. And then all of a sudden, we fall asleep. We wake up. Mom is level 50. She's got some sort of dragon thing floating above her character, shooting extra bullets. And we're saying, what happened here, Mom? And she says, this is the greatest. And I will never forget that. I mean, Gauntlet Legends on N64, having hidden characters, fun little extra mini games where you collect all the coins, all of the cool levels. I'll never forget it. And then they gave it to me again on the original Xbox, Gauntlet Legends Dark Legacy, where they've upgraded it. They've made a new game, a new story, and man, Gauntlet Legends still to this day, if we go to an arcade, that's the first thing I'm stepping up to and putting quarters in.
Yep, love it.
All right, my final 2.
Here we go.
Number 2. This one should be easy for y'all because I hyped it up last week. Conker's Bad Fur Day on N64 and Conker's Bad Fur Day Live and Reloaded on the original Xbox. Now on Xbox One backwards compatibility. Oh boy, was that a treat. I mean, on N64, to have a foul-mouthed, hard mature title that you never saw coming. It was more of those platformer mascot combos right there, but it was hard M right there as well. Had fun multiplayers. I brought it up before. This was 4-player split screen with bots. It wasn't just you and 4 friends playing James Bond. It was you and 4 friends taking on about 12 different bots in about 7 different game modes, and it was amazing back in the day. And then to have the story, you didn't even know what was happening in the story. All of a sudden, you're fighting a foul-mouthed piece of poop. You're fighting a bull that has diarrhea. All of a sudden, you're in the Matrix. You're playing Save It Private Ryan as you're playing World War II, Teddies versus Squirrels. There's a drunk bumblebee out there. There's a flower with big boobs. I mean, this was my game. I still play it to this day, and now with Xbox backwards compatibility, I'll be playing it until I can't play it ever again.
And man, so take me through. So I saw you playing the other night. What did they do? So there is no actual multiplayer,
Correct.
right?
There's no Xbox Live compatibility, meaning you cannot play against friends with the same game. You can only play against the bots. So that's okay. Takes a little bit out of it. Live and Reloaded was a different kind of multiplayer. They were trying to go for that more shooter, Call of Duty genre. So you'll see capture the flag. You'll see a team deathmatch. You'll see a hardpoint domination type game. But, having only the bots, it's still fun because you can play those game modes, but it's not the same. It's only $9, mind you. If you want to buy it, it's only $9 on the Xbox store. What a great buy for the original story and that. But without the multiplayer being Xbox Live, it's not the same. But to have my favorite characters come back to life again, I'm in it to win it, and I'm all
I love
about
it.
it.
It looked fun for a game that is as old as it is. Seeing you play looked like a hell of a lot of fun, even
Oh,
without the multiplayer. It looked good.
no doubt. And so that leads us to the SnowBikeMike top 10 number one game. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Roll. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Grand Theft Auto rings big time to me. Of course, GTA 3 was amazing out there in Liberty City. Then Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I will never forget the day. I had taken all my lunch money. Mom thought I was buying lunch. No, I was putting it in a little piggy bank, and I saved all of it up until I had exactly $65. I stood outside of the local Best Buy with one of my friends, begging people as they walked in to go buy me Grand Theft Auto Vice City the day it came out, because it was hard mature, and I was about 12 years old at that time frame.
Yeah.
So we were outside, $65 in hand, just begging people to buy us this video game, just hoping that they might take our money, come back with the video game. Who knows? They might have just punked us,
Right.
And
Think
so
of doing that now. Right.
I get this young kid. Here he comes. He walks up. I say, please buy me this game. I hand him the money. And this man went in and out and gave me the PS2 version of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And that's when you had motorcycles. That's when you were down in beautiful Miami just doing coke, killing people. It was amazing. So that was a good one. And then San Andreas was the culmination of all those games to me. CJ in San Andreas. You got that LA, San Francisco, Vegas type feel all around the neighborhood. You got gang battles. You got CJ. He can overeat McDonald's and throw up and get fat. He can work out and get muscular. You can pick any clothes you want that he can wear. I mean, wow, how amazing. You can have a girlfriend if you want. You can go hunt down Bigfoot. The mysterious Bigfoot was supposedly in the game. I don't think anybody ever found it out there in the Redwood Mountains, but it might have been in there. And the jetpacks, the casinos, what a fun game. So Grand Theft Auto San Andreas will always be my number one. And it had co-op, folks. If you didn't know, there was actually a co-op one. The camera angle was awful because it wasn't split screen, so you had just one screen with two characters on it. You always had to stay within the screen boundaries to play it, but that was pretty cool to add co-op into that.
Dude, that is a great number one. God, I spent a lot of time with that game. That's probably, of all the ones on the list, probably the one, maybe Fallout New Vegas, close second. But, man, I put a lot of hours into San Andreas. There's no doubt.
Oh, what a great one, Tom. And you know what? Shout out to you for coming up with a great topic. I was hesitant at first. I was thinking, man, there's so many games. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And then to have you last week, really bring out 10 to 13 games, got my motor running. And then this week, just to sit down and really reflect on, what games speak to me. I brought up that early internet stages of like, man, this is amazing that you are not playing on the N64 with just you and your brother and your mom. But, man, we're reaching out to millions of people around us. Sure, nobody ever called my house for like 6 years. But you know what? It was all worth it in the end because we had so much fun playing those games. And it was awesome to reflect, think back. I don't have many new-gen games on this. I know I could have. I had a lot written down. But I had to put down the games that, in my heart, what would the games that if I was trapped on an island, what would they be? And all these games, I would take any of them and never complain again.
Dude, that's what, it's funny as you were going through it. And again, I hadn't seen the list or anything before you'd done it. That's kind of what jumped out at me the most too was, and I think I joked when I did my list that most of my games came from about a 5-year window from 2006 to 2012, somewhere in that range, right? The vast majority of mine did. It was funny after I listed, I'm like, what was going on in my life when that happened, right? But for yours, I think the same kind of thing happened a little bit, right? That a lot of them are kind of couch co-op sort of games where you have a lot of memories of being with family and friends and all the stuff that kind of goes around when those games were first getting on the internet and what that was like to play multiplayer, which I think is really cool. That's a testament to kind of the things that stick to all of us as gamers and why you became a gamer and this passionate in the first place. It was those things. For me, it was one time frame in a certain genre kind of game, because none of mine were multiplayer. Pretty much all of yours are, right? Which is really cool that the lists are so different.
Amazing stuff. And we want to know what your top 10 games are. Me and Tom have told you ours. Now it's 2 weeks in the making. So please, if you're out there in the comments watching, listening to this, go off in the comments. Let us know what are
Heck
your
yes.
top 10 games. Maybe you agree, you disagree with me and Tom, but we want to know. Get active in those comments. Me and Tom are in there commenting back, liking, listening to all the feedback. And we want to know what's your top 10 out there. Now, that's the end of topic 3, and that concludes episode 5 of the Game Time Podcast with your guys, SnowBikeMike and Tom Bach. Tom Bach, where can they find you? What can they talk to you on?
Dude, find me on Twitter at Galunga. Find me playing PUBG with you 5 nights a week and staying up way too late and being tired, taking naps during the day, not able to do my job correctly, but I think it's all worth it because we're having a hell of a good time. We had so much fun the other night at that chicken dinner that we got. I lost my voice. I couldn't talk the next day. I had a headache because I was laughing so freaking hard. We had such a good time, man. So that's where you can generally find me, is hopefully making more memories out of that wonderful game that is PUBG.
I love that, Tom. And if you would like to check out that PUBG game, it is now on youtube.com/SnowBikeMikeGaming, where you find the Game Time Podcast. And it's also on twitch.tv/SnowBikeMike under the highlights section. I've clipped out that full game right there, and I promise you, if you were looking for a fun, rip-roaring laughter of a time where we turn nothing into something and get that chicken winner, I promise you, this is the best one you're ever going to see. So go check that out on all those services. And, of course, you can find me on all social medias at SnowBikeMike. I'm streaming to you live 5 nights a week, Tuesday through Saturday, with Follower Friday giveaways, thanks to Tom Bach on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SnowBikeMike. Of course, big shout-out to all of the 2K community out there. I don't know if you guys watched this, but I just got involved again with the MCPA for their first ever live broadcasts. We did the Xbox One Final Combine Finals, and it was a whole lot of fun. I love commentating 2K basketball, with the 2K League going on, a lot of other different organizations. They always like to reach out to me, and I love providing the hype. I love talking sports, love talking video games, and this is just the perfect blend for me. That's where you can find us. Thanks so much for watching, listening on SoundCloud, on YouTube. Please leave a comment. Let us know. Leave some feedback. And for you guys, SnowBikeMike and Tom Bach, have a great week. Enjoy God of War. Get on the hype train. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.